relationships and sexuality, it has come time to speak of sexuality in the context of relationship and knowledge. We have spoken in the past regarding relationship and its importance in hindering or advancing the development of knowledge. There are many strange beliefs in this world concerning relationships and their relevance to personal growth, to personal healing, to the completion of past incidences, and so forth. We will review some of these ideas so that our primary message may make absolute sense to you. Relationships serve within three primary phases. In the first phase, before knowledge can emerge, relationships are primarily for the resolution of error. They are to demonstrate illusion and to draw a contrast between illusion and knowledge, between stimulation and peace of mind. They are completions, you might say, yet the attractions can be very fierce. If a person never enters the second phase in this life, it is possible they may have a long-term relationship, yet it will be flawed and incomplete. It will have inherent difficulties because the individuals involved have not established a common sense of identity. Though they attempt to establish a common bond, their bond is not intrinsic. In the second phase, which is the emergence of knowledge in the individual, the unconscious becomes conscious. Then relationships have an entirely different framework and service. Before this, knowledge was beneath the surface of the mind, exerting influence, but in an ill-defined way. In the third phase, relationships have an entirely different emphasis from the previous two. Now knowledge has emerged and the individual is undergoing development in order to serve humanity. Let us review this now a little bit. In the first stage, which is where the vast majority of people are, relationships are flawed and difficult, yet there are great attempts to make these relationships permanent. These relationships provide a contrast which is essential for self-development. Without this contrast, you would have no way of discerning what is real from what is not. Your errors here are of tremendous value, if you can understand them and comprehend their service. When knowledge begins to emerge in the second stage, it seems tremendously disruptive. It provides a relief because it is natural and because it emanates from your own being, yet it seems to draw you away from your former allegiances to a very great extent. It also challenges your former ideas and beliefs, even those ideas concerning personal development and growth. When knowledge begins to emerge from within you, it does not emerge for growth. Let us make this important point because there are many sad and tragic involvements justified in the name of growth. This is merely a new form of justification. Knowledge is not for growth in the usual sense. It is for service and contribution. In this it begins to attract knowledge in others. It is a resonating effect. Knowledge expands, but you in your true state do not grow. You are merely rediscovered. Growth refers to the body and the personality. It refers to the vehicle for your true self. The vehicle grows because it changes. Knowledge expands, yet it only does so because it reclaims itself. Therefore, in reality there is no growth. There is only reclamation, which from a personal standpoint looks like tremendous growth. It is as if you were breaking new ground and reclaiming old territory at the same time. In the second stage, relationships are primarily to serve the emergence of knowledge. They have far greater relevance to this emergence than to anything else. They are somewhat mysterious because people seem to be sent from nowhere, holding great promise and stimulation for knowledge. Here the personality is not being so stimulated, for this relationship is not for gratification. It is for true service. It is the beginning of a whole new era of relationship. In this new era of relationship, if the emergence of knowledge can take place, you will have relationships of an entirely different nature. They will not be inherently flawed. They will seem to exist already. You do not need to create them. They are established, yet they are new to your experience, and so they must find an expression and an acceptance on your part. This is the reclamation of the spiritual family within this world, where everyone seems scattered and separate. Relationships now become something else, but you cannot define them. They seem to defy definition, yet they are so deeply felt and there is such resonance that they cannot be denied. Old friendships fall away now. They do not have this content within them. Old emphases fall away. It is the beginning of something you cannot stop but can only hinder. It is like giving birth. That is the best analogy, perhaps. You cannot stop labor once labor begins. It is a greater force than you can account for within yourself. It is this greater power that represents knowledge. In the third phase, you are beginning to understand your calling in life, and individuals come to find their place with you. There is recognition rather than attraction. There is peace rather than frantic stimulation. There is confirmation in being together. You still have personalities, and there are difficulties, conflicts, and so forth, because personalities are like that. They have their own inherent discomforts, like your body, which has its aches and pains. Just because you have purpose does not mean your body is free of aches and pains. Your personality will have its own as well, yet it is no longer a dominant factor. You can be compassionate towards it now. It is not ruling you. It is only an occasional nuisance and an occasional pleasure. It finds its rightful place. As I have said, the vast majority of people are in the first phase. They are in the phase of developing discernment. People in this phase may have tremendous insight, seeming spiritual power, intuitive abilities, and so forth, yet knowledge has not emerged. They are within an inner cultivation process. It is only through their disappointments and their deeper yearning, which may now emerge, that they will be able to make wise decisions and finally realize that their pursuit of personal fulfillment is fruitless. Personal fulfillment is not even what you want. You are bereft of happiness because you are separated from knowledge. You are like a ship without a shore. You cannot make the ship complete for yourself, for it has not found its rightful harbor. You are still alone in the universe. In this stage, all you can hope for is to be safe from harm and have adequate pleasurable stimulation to keep you from despair. You will have real joys and real pleasures, but they will not be enough. It is this inherent dissatisfaction with your separated state that will drive you towards union and bring about the emergence of knowledge. You will lose interest in things sequentially that were stimulating before. Then, when knowledge begins to emerge, you will have the least possible conflict of interest. Knowledge will seem a great unknown to you. Even your theories regarding spiritual development will not help you now. You will not know who you are exactly. You are not completely who you were, and you have not become what you were intended to be. During this period you need great assistance. This is when the inner teachers begin to emerge, and their emergence has direct relevance for you. This is when you must be selective about whom you spend time with, for each relationship will either help or hinder this emergence. You may think you are being very unloving and selfish, but that is the way it goes. In the last two phases you still have personal problems, but you also have greater concerns than personal problems. You must still make corrections in your behavior and activities, but you now make adjustments not because it gives you pride, but because it is essential for your well-being. It is no longer a should. It is a must. It is a matter of life for you now. Now let us say what sexuality is for. It serves two functions. First, it serves to regenerate the race, to provide a vehicle of entry for new life, very intelligent life like yourself. Secondly, it is a means of establishing deeper union through the body. It is a physical exercise to experience union. Beyond this, sexuality loses meaning very drastically. When you join your physical electromagnetic system, your body, to another, you are transferring energy to one another. We are not speaking of orgasm. We are speaking of uniting your physical vehicles. This is a very great impact on the body and a very great impact on the emotional self. Your nature does not discriminate at this level. If you have sex with someone, your body and emotions will attempt complete union. Your body and emotions do not discriminate. It is like digesting food. If you have this engagement with someone you are not in true relationship with, you will damage your physical system and you will disrupt yourself emotionally. You will lose energy and efficacy as a result. This depletion of your physical vehicle and disruption of your emotional nature has serious consequences if it is repeated over and over. This loss of vitality will make you sick. Eventually it will destroy your body's self-maintenance. This is occurring with the illness that is prevalent now. It is the misalignment of the physical vehicles. It is the destruction, by repeated depletion, of the capability of those vehicles to maintain themselves. This is a very serious matter. You must understand. There is no casual sex. There is no recreational sex. If you attempt this, you will be attempting complete union with no intention whatsoever and will risk your physical well-being. Nature prohibits this. That is why there are so many indigenous illnesses associated with this. It is not wise and it is not natural. It is not good for you, so do not seek this stimulation. Seek true relationship. You have sexual needs, but they are not sexual in their origin. They represent your yearning for union, which you experience physically, though the cause of this physical sensation is rarely recognized. These impulses, then, are for union. They emanate from your being. You experience them in your body and you feel sexually aroused, so you go out and try to take care of your sexual needs somewhere. This is a very serious matter. For those of you who are undertaking the reclamation of knowledge in a conscientious manner, you must attend to this subject very well. There is great hysteria regarding sexual repression and sexual ties and thoughts. There is great fear that your spiritual life will deprive you of these enjoyments. This is quite ridiculous. Your knowledge will indicate whether you are to be united sexually with another or not. It is simply given or not. Because you have such strong views regarding the essential need for sexual involvement, it makes you afraid of your own knowledge, afraid it will rob and deprive you of your great pleasures in life. I, through my words, cannot reassure you enough that this is not the case. Yet you must discover this for yourself. Your need is for union and for meaningful relationships for a greater purpose. This is the source of your sexual yearning. This represents the need for reproduction. Reproduction is for a spiritual purpose. If it is misused, it will be damaged. Yet not everyone is intended to have a relationship for this purpose. There is a serious illness now in your midst. Take heed. This is nature saying no. This is nature saying, you cannot do this without harm. Your knowledge will indicate whom you are to be sexually united with. If you do not trust your knowledge, then you will have tremendous conflict. Yet, your knowledge will provide what is needed for your well-being. Now, you may be prejudiced against me because I am not here with you physically. You may say, he does not have this problem. But I have lived many times in the physical. The need for union and reproduction is universal, though the customs regarding sexual engagement vary. Biological processes and the forms of engagement vary, yet the need is universal. My people reproduced. My people had a need for knowledge. My people had a need for union with one another.